Everybody knows that this exists. You can't keep this secret. If I'm looking for a high crime error, I found it. You don't see what we investigate until you're there. There's no way to know. Where do I go look for child exploitation? Where do I go look for child sex abuse? It's not happening out in public like this. It's happening behind closed doors.
I'll never forget the first images that I saw with these two young girls. They were probably somewhere between 7 and 10 at the time that they were being exploited. And seeing that abuse, it took what was words, what were statements, and made it real life.
It was a little girl about 4 or 5 years old, and she was being sexually abused by an adult male. And there was acceptance of the situation, kind of going through those emotions, and then there's an immediate sense of, we have to do something. This isn't right. We have to do something about this.
Then you have the wheels start turning of, it's your job to find that child, save that child, and find the offenders responsible for what happened to that child.
We know that the internet has exacerbated this problem when it comes to viewing child sexual abuse material. Years ago, we see that they are coming together in groups, whether on the clear web or the dark web, and they are discussing the content of abuse material that they enjoy. They are sharing it, they are normalizing this behavior amongst each other.
The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, or NCMEC for short, is the central clearinghouse for child abuse material in the United States. And since the initiation, that database has grown to well over 400 million images and videos related to child sexual exploitation.
5, 10 years from now, those spider webs are just going to grow even more.
I think the most challenging aspect of this work is not being able to spend the time that we need to investigate all of these cases that we have and identify all of the victims that we know are contained within these images and videos. Personnel is probably the #1 resource that we're short of here in the United States.
We have a search warrant. The search warrant's good for 5 a.m. It's a second-floor apartment.
This search warrant today comes from 4 cyber tips that were all linked by the same IP address. Kik and Snapchat reported that the user was in possession and distributing images of child sexual abuse material. The IP address comes back to this address. My suspect is a 25-year-old Hispanic male.
Other than that, just be safe again, and remember what you guys do matters.
Where's the police? Freeze. Police, come to the door! Yeah.
All right, so we are detectives in the Jersey State Police, all right? We deal with internet crimes. Well, there's a reason we're here, okay? It's not a mistake that we're here in the middle of the night with a SWAT team. Who is this?
That's my friend's daughter.
No, hold on. What do you mean? Because, see, I need to be clear.
I molested her feet. That's what I did. Okay. Stop.
You did what?
Take a breath.
You did what?
Please, don't make this. This is what we I wanted to avoid this for you, okay? Relax. He made a mistake. Okay. You need to breathe. Breathe. I need you to breathe. Take a deep breath, okay? Take a deep breath.
Just told you when they were putting you in handcuffs what you're under arrest for. Aggravated sexual assault and manufacturing, child pornography, and possession and distribution of it, okay? But for now, that's what we have, and we'll discuss it more back to the station, okay?
Last year received 18,176 cyber tips. It's the most we've ever received from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Currently, right now, Last check, I think it was like yesterday, about 1,500 that we haven't even begun, haven't even opened.
There are about 1,600 plus electronic service providers signed up to report cyber tips to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, but only about 250 of those even make a single report every year. Of those, we see huge disparities in the number of reports from different companies that don't seem to be explained by the amount of users that they have using their platform.
Hey, it's Courtney. I just wanted to let you know I have a Twitter and a Facebook. And I'm always on Facebook, like always, yeah. I'll send you my link. It'll be down the bottom, so yeah. I'm always on there, like making pictures or taking pictures.
When I was young, the warning was there was going to be a white van that was going to snatch you at the park. Now that white van, you've parked it in your child's room, and they don't realize the danger that is occurring right in their very home. To hear that these kids have phones in 2nd grade, in 5th grade they have computers in their bedrooms, and they're gaming with adults, and they know they're gaming with adults, but their parents don't. We had this issue with end-to-end encryption. You're creating a black box and you're putting your child in that black box and throwing away the key. And is that what we want to do? And the sad part is when you have all these other influences, lobbyists, the decision was made that they rather risk their child being put in that black box and throwing away the key than creating some sort of exception for public safety.
We're a small city of 40,000 people, of 26 square miles, and we are in the center of a lot larger cities around us who have higher crime rate. And that's our ultimate goal, is to keep this city safe. There are people in our community and communities all over the place that are predators who prey on children, and they possess these images. And then I've also learned that they're shared through different groups, whether it's on the dark web or through some other types of means. And it's heartbreaking because there's victims out there, and you may not know where those victims may be. There have been children and teenagers in our community who are victims of sextortion. We've learned that there are children, there are teenagers that have committed suicide over sextortion.
Officers are oftentimes going to be that first responder to what we would call like a child exploitation or trafficking incident, where it's coming in from the public or it's a sextortion. Be realistic, like these are difficult cases, they're tough. A lot of times these suspects are overseas, but here are some resources.
And I think when I look at investigations of the past, when we've collaborated with other agencies, we're able to accomplish so much more. One example that we have is our collaboration with Operation Lightshine. And the partnership with this nonprofit has been so great for us because we are able to access funding for that personnel, that staff member who handles these important investigations, but also in any technology resource that our detective needs.
Wow, it's just amazing to me that here in the city like that. Yeah, people don't realize that here in Little Mountain Valley, we have this many of these cases. Wow.
When we founded the mission, when we decided on what the mission of Operation Lightshine would be, it was to provide funding and resources where the government was not. It was to stand in the gap where that funding was leaving off. And so we have detectives that don't have laptops to deal with child abuse material. So at Operation Lightshine, we provide those types of resources. And we're doing that with private funding as a nonprofit.
You're looking at video from the arrest of Justin Dougal on Tuesday. Members of the Southwest Florida INTERCEPT Task Force arrested the 37-year-old after serving a search warrant at his home in Naples Park. The task force is a partnership between local law enforcement agencies from across the region alongside the nonprofit Operation Lightshine that is committed to stopping child exploitation and human trafficking.
So Operation Lightshine affects our ability to resource and fund law enforcement agencies through our INTERCEPT task forces.
What we've been able to do is bring together 7 law enforcement organizations in our area under the INTERCEPT Task Force concept. And this allows our detectives to work together every day. We coordinate resources, we coordinate investigations, we share resources, and it really has been a powerful investigative tool as we continue to, focus our efforts on holding perpetrators accountable and saving victims.
It's a collaborative effort, multi-agency effort of bringing law enforcement and other multidisciplinary aspects together to protect children from child exploitation and trafficking.
Operation Light Shine is also proactive, where they continuously send us that type of information, answering questions for us that we would have never probably even thought to ask, honestly. I think that's one of the biggest things that the model offers.
7,000 cases initiated, 4,200 arrests last year, almost 2,000 convictions, and almost 2,000 children identified and rescued.
We have 5 task forces in 4 states, which is very small. And just from the impact we were able to make in just 2023 alone in those 5 really task forces, we were able to arrest 209 offenders and ID and rescue 127 kids. And that's just with 5 task forces. So I think what people need to understand is if we had the money, if we had the funding, if the government cared, imagine how much of a bigger difference we can make in just 1 year.
The budget for this as a whole, the missing and exploited children's budget in 2023 was only $105 million. To put that kind of in perspective and as a contrast, the United States government counter-drug budget was $40 billion. So, and interesting enough, I was fortunate enough to testify to Congress. And in that hearing, we were addressing some budget issues with the House Judiciary Committee.
We're going to begin now with Mr. Tebow. Please, your 5 minutes.
Chairman Biggs, Ranking Member Nadler, Ms. Dean, honorable members of the committee, thank you guys so much for having me. Camille, Jim, John, so grateful for you guys and so honored to be here with you and humbled to be beside you. My name is Tim Tebow, and as Chairman Biggs stated, I'm fortunate to be and humbled to be the chairman and the founder of the Tim Tebow Foundation, and we exist to bring faith, hope, and love to those needing a brighter day in their darkest hour need. To sum it up.
And we were asking for support for a bill that would increase that budget by $25 million for 2024. We're asking for that budget to be $130 million. Instead of approving the $25 million, Congress cut $2 million. That budget went from $105 million in 2023 to $103 million in 2024. We're going backwards.
And we always say we always want to work ourselves out of our job. We shouldn't have to exist. The fact that as a non-government organization, we have to go out and privately fundraise to give our law enforcement tools, resources, technology that should be given to them in this crime type by the government, by the state. It's just insane to think about nobody is doing it, and that we as a nonprofit have to stand up and go out and give them these resources.
So instead of hearing from me, I would rather you hear from one of my heroes, a young girl who went through extreme abuse for 7 years, and almost every night she got raped for 7 years. And in the middle of her abuse, this is what she writes. Rescue me, help me. Monsters are chasing, can't you see? Monsters are whispering, can't you hear? Monsters are shouting, you're nothing. Can't you feel my pain? Monsters are pushing. End it all, just jump. Can't you hear all the whys I'm asking? Monsters are laughing. You're all alone in this. Can someone please rescue me?
I can't pile a case with 50 victims
I can't put that, you can't quantify, you can't see that, you can't measure it. I could pile up drugs, I could pile up the packages of drugs and the guns, and that's great. But did that really make a difference? I could save one kid, and I know that I changed that child. Whether it's the infant that I talked about, whether it's the 3-year-old, the 10-year-old, I changed their life forever. That's something you can't measure.